Hey everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to create the opening shot of the Aviation Museum. To do this, we're using 3ds Max, Redshift Render Engine, After Effects, and an airplane model. So to start, the opening shot is so important. So let's start there. What makes the opening shot compelling in movies, TV, commercials, music videos, and short films? When I watch any video, I'm constantly looking for a reason to turn it off because there's so much garbage out there now that you really have to earn the audience's trust.
It's craft. It's pissing me off, man. How craft is dying everywhere as a result of so many things.
I have my hand on the mouse with the finger just hovering over the exit button, waiting to turn it off. Now, longer form media like TV shows, for instance, I give a little bit more leeway with 30 to 60 seconds. But for short form media like commercials, music videos, or short films, if the opening shot isn't compelling or engaging, then you've already lost the audience's trust. And when it comes to storytelling, everything is based on the audience's trust in the storyteller. So take, for instance, the opening of Breaking Bad. Within the first 30 seconds, you start with the desert, then you catch my interest with the iconic shot of the khaki pants floating in the air to, what? Who's this awkward suburban middle-aged dad, and why is he driving this RV in the middle of nowhere with bodies in the back of the RV? All to say, the opening shot has to be engaging and catch your interest immediately, especially if you're making commercials, because ads are intrusive. So what do I want to communicate with the opening shot of the aviation commercial? The goal here is it needs a lot of forward motion. It needs to be really exciting so that you can feel the excitement of the girl and her imagination flying through the sky. It also needs to set the tone, establish the location, and finally have high production value so that you can build trust with the audience. And that's done through big locations, good cinematography, editing, sound design, color grade, everything. It all has to be top notch or else people will see right through it. So this is the criteria that we're going to use to make the opening shot of the Aviation Museum. All right, let's get into it. Creating the 3D clouds. Well, not quite so fast. One important thing to know is the clouds didn't originally look like this. I was trying to get the same look by using just 2D clouds generated in After Effects, but they didn't look nearly good enough. Instead, the shot started out looking like this. So what differentiates the 2D clouds from the 3D clouds? To best look at that, I started by taking my shot of the 2D clouds, looking at what was wrong by comparing it to references, and then trying to bridge the gap. When you look at the 2D clouds, what do you notice that looks off about it? Well, the first thing I start off with is if you pause it, the still image of the 2D clouds falls apart immediately. Yeah, it can maybe look okay when it's played in motion, but as soon as you stop it and analyze it, you can pick apart the flaws. Like, the plane animation looks like you just kind of took the rotation tool and just applied the wiggle effect. You can almost just see the keyframes. Secondly, the lighting of the clouds was off too. If you just take a look at the shot, where is the sun? In After Effects, it's overhead backlighting the clouds, but it didn't look like it at all. That's because I used a lens flare effect, and it just isn't replicating the light the same way real life would. Where it really falls apart is when you compare it to a real life reference shot, or especially some references from Dunkirk. So we know the 2D clouds aren't working. Now we have to bridge the gap. What makes the shot in Dunkirk work, and what makes the 2D clouds not work? And then we have to analyze it and then take what we learned and make something better. So when analyzing Dunkirk, the planes are being backlit by the sun, adding depth, making it more ominous. If you took a look at this as a still frame without knowing anything about the movie, there's a story to the image. The lighting sets the mood. The background clouds makes the location look vast and gives depth to the shot. The three planes flying together tells the story that they're about to go to war. The story in the 2D cloud shot, the plane is just kind of floating there. It's not telling a story. Remember, the goal of the opening shot is to throw you into this exciting world of the girl's imagination, and it's not really doing that. Then for the foreground clouds, it's that extra bit of movement that, one, separates the foreground from the background, reveals the background in a more thematic way. And then third, for the foreground clouds moving past the camera, that extra bit of movement is a good in or out point for making a cut. So we've analyzed what doesn't work about the 2D clouds. It doesn't check the boxes for the criteria I'm judging. We analyzed what does work about the shot in Dunkirk. Now I can take what I learned and bridge the gap to finally go into 3ds Max and render out a new scene. I took an existing VDB file made by Disney under Creative Commons. Then using one cloud, I essentially populated a forest, making it my own scene. If you'd like to know how I did this step by step, I have a full tutorial I made in the drop-down menu below. I animated the camera moving forward, rendered it out, and took the camera data from 3ds Max into After Effects. What we did to capture the model airplane shots was we took fishing string, tied it to C-stands around the front, back, and wings of the plane. To give the look that the plane was flying through the scene, I substituted the plane's movement for my camera doing the inverse movement, walking my camera backwards instead. As the camera pulled back, one person moved the wings of the plane via the fishing string, and we backlit the plane with an Aperture LS1S light panel. As the wings turn, that gives that extra little bit of movement to make it look like the plane is really flying through the scene. And as the wings turn, the light reflects off of the wings, making the light interact with the environment better. This was the key element to making the shot work. Also, since the plane flies from in the shadow of the clouds out into the open, we had to have a flag blocking the light. All three of these elements had to be all in sync or else it wouldn't work at all. This process of getting the right movement and the correct lighting took quite a few tries, to the point where I didn't think it'd actually work at all. Let's just go again real quick. Ready? And pull. But then, like all VFX, you're working on the shot, then you take a break for 20 minutes, come back, and it actually starts to come together. When you import the airplane shot into After Effects, you want to start with the lighting of the plane to match the background first via the color. That way you don't waste your time rotoscoping the plane or trying to get the perfect movement that'll integrate well into the scene. I'd make a lot of little tweaks until I could match everything up. So once I had the color integrated with the clouds, I had to get the movement of everything correct. Since I was the one walking the camera backwards, there was a lot of bumps in the footage and just little inconsistencies. So what I did was I warp stabilized it, then I pre-comped it, I time remapped it and made it a lot quicker and pre-comped it again. Then finally I took the airplane shot, I motion tracked it, and I applied the motion track of the airplane onto the clouds. Getting the lighting and the movement to look correct was the key element to making the whole shot come together. After all of that integrated well, I added a solid layer with a low 10 to 15% opacity that wisps past the camera as the plane flies by, simulating the plane kicking up clouds into the camera, helping to interact with the shot just a little bit more. It's that last 5% that you have to try and add everything that I think helps make it work. And after all that was said and done, the shot was finished. If you'd like to see a full step-by-step breakdown of how the clouds were made, I made a tutorial in the drop-down menu below. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I am planning on making a whole lot more videos in the future. So if you enjoyed this, there's more to come.